Okay, and I know you are not alone out there. We have a wonderful group that Caitlyn has told me, and I would like to welcome you all to our 2020 Long Island Poet of the Year event. Of course, we're not at the Birthplace, but I'm remembering that our last year's card said, our holiday card said, from our house to your house. And certainly at this moment, we are all coming from Whitman to your own home. So thank you for tuning in. It's very exciting to be using this wonderful technology so that we can all stay connected. I'm Cynthia Shor, the Executive Director of the Walt Whitman Birthplace. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the Walt Whitman Birthplace Association membership, I'm very pleased, and we are very pleased to honor Christina M. Rao as our 2020 Long Island Poet of the Year. I don't know if we're all together here. We can all give a big cheer, which is what we usually do in the birthday. Let's give a big cheer. Yay for Christina.
Yay!
Yay!
Woo!
Yay! Yay! Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Yay!
Oh, Christina.
Yay!
Yay!
I hear a lot of voices that I recognize, which is a lot of fun. Well, the Long Island Poet of the Year was selected by a panel of judges, and we look for qualities that are someone who is a very accomplished, large body of work, that their poetry has been acclaimed and recognized in local and national ways, and third, that they make contributions to the Long Island poetry community. So in a minute, of course, we're all going to hear Christina read her poetry. We will have a first-hand look at her body of work and why it has been acclaimed and recognized by so many established magazines and publications. But first, I would like to say a personal introduction and experience about Christina, having been active here at the Birthplace. As I said, one of the qualities for our Long Island Poet of the Year is to make contributions to the Long Island poetry community. And at the Birthplace for 2 years now, we have been our judge for the Poetry Out Loud, which is a high school recitation poetry contest. And she joined us last year, and she joined us this year, and we're very pleased to have her do that. In addition, she's offered workshops for us and has been at hand to support us in other ways. So certainly has been very qualified, as the judges decided, and it was a unanimous decision this year that she should be our Poet of the Year. I would like to give a shout out to Kaitlyn Shea. She has been our tech person this past week, working very hard to get this all put together, this one and more. So please watch your emails, and let's give a shout out to Caitlyn. Hey, Caitlyn.
Yay!
Thank you, Cynthia.
Yay, Caitlyn!
Thank you.
Yay!
for putting this all together. And so I hear Richard is on. Richard is our board member, and I believe Maria is also. Caitlyn, this is going a little bit off script, but I know Richard was scheduled to do a formal introduction. And
we're on.
And if we could hear a couple of words, if you would like to say that. And as I said, Caitlyn, I'm going off script. Hear his voice and have him offer words.
Sure. I mean, I can give a quick summary of what I was thinking. In essence, I've known Christina for quite a while, and I've been very aware of her poetry and of her, not only her poetry, which is strong, but also her desire to, in fact, establish readings both from Nassau County and then in Suffolk, as well. And I got to know her more in terms of her being a judge in the spoken poetry. So I'm just happy that she's gotten the award and look forward to her reading.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. All right, and so now I am going to, with great pleasure, and appreciation, introduce our 2020 Walt Whitman Birthplace Association Island Poet of the Year, M. Rapp. And she will offer her reading, and I will defer to her to say bye at the end of her reading on my behalf and the association's behalf. So we keep this being very streamlined to go along. So let's all give a wonderful welcome and a round of applause through the internet to Christina M. Rapp.
Yay.
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 Hey, Christina.
So, in case you don't know, Zoom has virtual backgrounds, and so it makes my hair look like a helmet, so I'm not going to keep it on. But I thought leaves of grass was appropriate. So you can see the virtual background. I have leaves of grass behind me. Thank you, Cynthia and Caitlyn and everybody at the Birthplace for putting this together. It's been, well, life is interesting right now, and so putting this together has been really interesting. So since I'm starting with this kind of outdoorsy theme, I thought I would read something about a lotus flower. And this is called What You Find on the Petal of a Lotus. Chemically, the inside comes out, a balancing glow of scent and color, all pink and plant-like, one razor-thin flap unfolding slowly out to inside rows of rows, triangles in a circle spiraling over pink and plant swirling up into oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Chlorophyll mingling with dew, magnified by rain, propped up by silt, one line woven into the next, the next, the next, to form each pink petal, a perfect triangle, chemically perfect. That's what's there, beating up along each edge, sliding down into the core, the stem, dripping off the rounded corner, perfection in all its flawed, slow blinking luminosity. So I know that sometimes people tend to fade into the background, so I'm going to get rid of it because it's going to start looking like a sci-fi thing. So let's get rid of the virtual. And welcome to my house. Welcome to where I usually sit and do my writing and grade my papers. This is my office. And well, we're going to keep with that theme though. We're going to keep outdoorsy theme for at least two more poems, if not three. Okay, so I'm going to read next from Girls Who Comb Their Hair and Other Strange Creatures. This is a Shutterfly original, which means I took my pictures and poems and made a book out of them. This is called The Trees Are the Fairies and the Fairies Are the Trees. The fairy trees with bark and leaves stand tall in lumen woods. They blossom buds with so much ease, as any real tree should. You see, these trees, they are alive, but not in the plant-like way. With crushing force, they will survive by protecting their stay in love. They become enchanted, mesmerized by some men who may try to take advantage. Fairy trees don't mind them. They transform those men into trees and keep them close forever. In return, they take on disease and cure their lovers' fever. Gray with mountain ash, they hover and judge up on high. They hang all unfaithful lovers, for heartbreak is a crime. So that ending wasn't as uplifting as I remember it writing it. So we're going to do another one. This is called Girls Love Your Feet. This is not about Oberon, the son of Morgan Le Fay and Caesar, the large-winged protector on those quests. This is not about Fatus, the male fairies as handsome as Lancelot, but tiny, dressed in gold and azure, a coat of mail, flowing hair, long beard, dreamy-eyed and noble. This is about the Phaetods, the pasty pale ones in the background running tech support, the tumbling ones who buff all that metal, the slow ones who know their way around a broken spindle. They may not save a pilly-wiggin from all the trudging feet of humans, but they'll carry all those pumpkin seeds from patch to petal and they'll bake them too. A little frumpy, maybe not as shining. Perhaps they have an off-size set of wings. They will never philander. They simply can't break a heart. Seek them out at the banquets of Avalon, seated at the way, way back, as they feast on leftovers and sour soup. Keeping in that theme of being, oop, everything's falling. It's okay. It's fine. We're good. Okay, keeping in the theme of being outside, and since we're talking about leaves of grass and it's Walt Whitman, I'm going to try to share my screen. We're going to try it. We're going to see if we can find it. And I want to show you and share with you a Whitman poem. Here we go. No, is that working? Well, if you can see it, it's a Whitman poem. If you can't see it, I'm going to read it anyway, and it's fine.
Totally working, Christina. Awesome.
Yay, technology. Okay. When I heard the learned astronomer. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and the diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I, sitting, heard the astronomer, where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room, how soon, unaccountable, I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist night air, and from time to time, looked up in perfect silence at the stars. So that means that we all know where we're going now. We're going into outer space, of course, right? So hang on a moment. This is more proper for space. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to fade in and out with the background, but we're in outer space, everybody, because we're going to liberate some astronauts. Oh, you can't see it. I'll show it to you when the background is not on. Okay. One of my friends might be watching now or might watch later, and so I'm going to read this because, well, she knows who she is. Why it took so long to watch the lunar landing. She said simply, I don't like space. And I understood. It's the opposite of claustrophobia, like steroidal agoraphobia, the emptiness, the atmosphere, the feeling of not falling, the freedom of a weightless body that can float away at any moment when not tethered, or if the tether comes undone. And if you should shout out for help, there is nothing to carry sound. There's no there. I might have stolen that last line from like Gertrude Stein or somebody, maybe, possibly, I'm not sure, but here we go, because backgrounds can be fun, but it can also be creepy. Okay, so let's stay in space. We're still in outer space. We'll still jive in outer space. If you do have the book, read along. Oh, okay. So the next one I'm going to read is called Space is the Place, and it's an ekphrastic poem. And ekphrastic poems are written after visual art. So I'm going to share this screen, and this is Michael Kagan's artwork. And I wrote this after Michael Kagan's Lights Out. So you can just see some of his artwork here. So I'm going to read this poem, and you can watch his artwork and think about the words. Space is the place. Paint scraped on with a knife, rough blue, red, gray on canvas, make the rocket and the ship, the circles on circles for gauges, the smoke and the fire. A white blast under heavy cylindrical columns, rectangles of squares end in triangular darkness. Skinny wires wrap up to the middle, away from the blue-black atmosphere. Face a reflection upon helmet glass. Space smells like a studio, an easel, an east-facing loft in morning light. The higher the floor, the closer to the stars. The stars, they are not white up close. They are prisms of every color, touchable by gloved hands. I will not move the stars for you. I move the stars for no one. I'm coming back. See, now, it's at this point, see, this is where it gets a little sad, because at this point, I would tell you, those last two lines are from a movie, and whoever can shout out the movie first would win a prize. So just know that I have prizes, and the next time we all get together, I can hand them out if you know the answer. So just tuck the answer in the back of your mind. Okay, maybe we can talk about it more in the Q&A. Okay. This next one is called curiosity. Though sound does not carry, it hums to itself. Each movement becomes a note on the line between the lines. Sheet music coded somewhere deep, deeply digging, or a shallow swipe. The experiments happen automatically, it seems. Every day, a record of date, time, temperature. Every day, roving and digging. Every motion a buzz, a frequency, noises in patterns, incantations to make the work go by, the day go by, until winding down when Earth's sun sets. Machines do not get tired. They work, alone and diligent, stoic and swift. On August 5th, everything changes. Curiosity roves around and completes a series of movements it does not follow on any other day. It hums, passing the time to the tune of Happy Birthday, Party of One, sampling the finest astrolobe, the densest space matter below a surface. It does what it does as it does every day. The only difference is 225 million kilometers away, where the women and men tug on pointed hats and eat cake and blow out candles and sing along, celebrating another year of life. So that's how scientists have fun. They make the Mars rover sing happy birthday. Still in space, everybody. 6 weeks of meteor showers. A memory of you around small stars, tilted planets, heavenly bodies burned out, not broken, gone by the time we get there, where they used to be back then. All the years they didn't, after passengers. A meteor a month out. The time it takes to tie a shoe in fake gravity. He woke her. After he woke up, couldn't fall back down, suspended alone, aging, while everyone else rests. One tree starts a forest, one death a decade. In good time, bottles and dancing, lifetime light years redefined. Left back old souls, a real peace, home. And again, I would say, hey, everybody, I have a prize. If anybody can name any actor that starred in Passengers, I will give you something. So more to discuss later. We used to be astronauts. Went through rigorous training, no gravity, food in a vacuum, shot through atmospheric layers on a rocket. Helmetless, without oxygen, life is good. To float, to feel, chilly, but the good kind. From up here, we see it all. All of it can be wondrous, and it is most of the time. When it's not, we're there. We take care of it. It's everything we are meant to do. Rounding out everything that's in outer space, we're going to talk just a little bit more about Kepler. Kepler is a very important guy. He did a lot of things. I can't name them exactly, but he's important. This is for Kepler 1625b. The oxymoron is this: a moon orbiting an exoplanet that orbits a star other than the sun. That's an extrasolar planet ignoring our star and attracting a satellite of its own. There are even bigger things out there than we could ever think. And speaking of bigger things out there, I'm going to talk about somebody, an inventor that I've been writing a chapbook about for several years now. And we're gonna hit the virtual background here again to talk about one of my favorite people. And we're gonna talk about Tesla. Okay. If you don't know who Tesla is the guy that had visions and was doing everything for the world, and then Marconi and Edison stole everything from him. Okay, well, that's my side of it. So I'm gonna read two. You should know that he was constantly mocked and made fun of, and this poem, Remote Control, is about that, where people were trying to think of, how is he doing that when he invented the remote control? It was wireless, and they're like, oh, he can't be wireless. Let's see what other things we can come up with instead of science. So this is called remote control. 3 feet long, 2 feet high, it had a blinking antenna. The lights answered the math. On the water, it zipped along by way of a motor and rudder. On the sidelines stood Tesla in command. It was all without wires. But what's more plausible than a wireless invention? Magic, of course. A simple spell or two, the remote actually a wand of sorts. But even more so, how about a monkey? Trained in the skills of sailing, highly responsive to incentives like fruit and lightning, tucked comfortably inside the vessel, moving it around, turning on and off the lights as commanded by perhaps telepathy, or maybe not commanded. Tesla was simply the chauffeur. The monkey was the mastermind, booking his spot at the Electrical Expo at MSG to fool the world into thinking wireless control was possible. I have another one, but I'm going to get out of the virtual background before it takes over me. Okay, there we go. Turning motion into motion. The current is how much. The voltage is the force. Edison is the direct enemy. Professor Poschel called the alternate useless, claimed it simply couldn't. Electrons must flow from negative to positive. It's something they must have said directly to their students, their staff, time and again. They didn't have the machines of Tesla's mind. Can't say the word. The visualizations, vivid and churning, the flow, the systems, the operation of both, a trial and error for free. You see, Tesla had supersonic hearing, overly sensitive nerves, lights too bright for his eyes to take, owing it all to illness of twitches and tremors, and owing recovery to walks outside. Then owing to AC lines from Faust. The glow retreats, done as the day of toil. It yonder hastens new fields of life exploring. Ah, that no wing can lift me from the soil upon its track to follow soaring. It's a whirling, rotating force. It's a rapid change of direction. Its terminals taking turns to move the charges from place to place to create the power they said would never be possible. I think most of my Tesla poems end with the idea of being possible and having all of this possibility because, yeah, that's what we need, right? Possibility. It's that glory of possibility. So I have another from a Shutterfly original because we've been in the grass and we've been to outer space and then we were in like this otherworldly place with Tesla. And so I think that it's only right that we head out to the beach. Would we like to head out to the beach? I'm gonna head out to the beach. Yeah. Again, I have that hair helmet going on, but that's okay. So from the original travelogue, the poems, travelogue poems. And I'm gonna turn it, maybe it's probably gonna get lost in the background, but there are pictures. Okay, here we go. I'm having so much fun right now. Okay. This one is called Juicing Weather. Wind whips your hair around and lifts your skirt to greet you on a midday lunch break. Waves break soapy, farther and farther offshore, kissing the feet of sandcastle architects. White clouds turn gray, double and triple up to almost touch down. William behind the bar, slices and seeds, shaves the rind, shakes the ice twice. That's from my trip to, I think I was in Cancun or someplace tropical. I don't know. I was on a beach somewhere. And so this is a travelogue. Okay, and I will show you the pictures. Those are pictures, and yeah, there you go. I'm also backwards, so I don't know my left from my right, and this is backwards, and I don't know. Okay. All right, everybody. So here it is. I got one more. It is also about the sea and the beach, and then we'll do Q&A. And if we have time at the end of Q&A, I will leave you with one more with some stuff. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So some of you recently heard this at a reading I did. It was like the last reading I did when I was out in the world. It was exciting. Okay. This is called Sometimes There Are Dolphins. On a warm morning, a sun salute, sun breath stretched, feet rooted and balanced on a mat on a rooftop overlooking the ocean beyond the boardwalk. Out there, floating at the line, barges move slow, and closer surfers in wetsuits slicking through tubes in a glimmer of foam and salt. And in the stretch between, sometimes there are dolphins, distracting from the focus of feet on a board, on a deck, on a mat, on a rooftop. They break above the surface and dive back down, a pod cycling like a wheel, 5 or 6 or maybe the same 3 over and again, blue, gray, sleep churned, distracting from inhale, exhale, down dog, and up. They reappear for air and then go under and forward, cutting through dark waters, becoming light with sun rays growing hot to shine through a mirrored surface. Way out there, where water is water, natural and unmanned, out there in the open sea, no land in sight, sometimes there are dolphins, exciting the guests standing at big bay windows on the dining deck who watch the wake of the ship, not expecting anything more. Startled, swift bodies break the wake, moving as fast as the ship, faster still, and disappear, moving under and above and under again. There are dolphins always out there, the same as sharks, the same as whales, the same as coral and kelp. All things invisible until they make themselves known. The same as the twinge in the back in baby cobra, the same as the twinge in the stomach when he'd ask for a hand, the same as the skipped beat in the pulse in the vinyasa on the mat on the rooftop overlooking the boardwalk on the shore. Sometimes there's a dolphin pose in the practice. Slow moving, a body shaking, forearms pressed down, torso lowering, hovering, pushing heart towards thighs. Upside down under big sky on a summer morning when surfers dash and barges float and ships out at sea drift towards isles yet to be seen. Sometimes there are dangers. Sometimes there are delights. Sometimes there are distractions. Beyond the edge of the body, the mat, the mind, the roof, the heart, the walk, the sand, the waves, the breath, the boat, the thin line of sky where the ocean rounds off and then down, out of sight. That's all I got, folks. So, yay for me. I'm assuming you're clapping. Yay.
Yay, yay.
Thank you. I'll clap for myself. How about
Awesome.
that?
Yay, I'm clapping.
Thank you, everybody. Delayed clap. Yeah, so I see some people are in the chat already. I'll scroll up in the chat. Yes, so we have people asking to mute the microphones. Yes, sure. And then we have a lot of hearts. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Thank you. Oh, my cousin Adise is here. Gloria Possibility. Thank you, Charlie. Just where I want to be. Thank you, Adise. Yes, a drink is good. Nice idea to make a travel. Yeah, so let me talk about the Shutterfly thing. Anybody on Shutterfly? Look at what you can do. So sometimes they send you codes for like free books. And so what you can do is you get your photos together, you get your poems together, and then that collection that you have in mind, you just make one. So this is Girls Who Comb Their Hair and Other Strange Creatures. And I wrote this a few years ago. And when I was writing about nymphs and gnomes and critters, and usually I do a mermaid poem. So that's like my mermaid hair. That's my one costume change I always do because I don't have a space suit and can't be an astronaut. So I made this one, Girls Who Comb Their Hair and Other Strange Creatures, about little nymphs and creatures. And the other one I made is travelogue poems. And it's poems about travel, okay? and it goes to different places. Some of them is as close as Long Island, and some of them are as far as Germany. There's a Germany poem in there. So I would suggest making a book of your poems on your own and seeing what you can do to have that crossover, all art, one art, right? What else? I am looking in the chat for questions. So if you want to, if you don't want to unmute and ask questions, otherwise you can unmute and ask a question, but sometimes people talk over each other during these things, and that's okay, because that's what happens in things like this. And I will stop talking and wait for questions. Now I feel like I'm teaching. No questions. Okay. Oh, good. Maybe. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, SVP. Okay. All right. Now I'm doing that thing where my students stare at me, I stare at the screen, and we just all wait because there's silence. Anybody have any questions? How long have you been writing poetry for? Thank you for the question, Jordan. I have been writing poetry since I have been able to write. So there's that. I do remember very specifically, I was in like 1st or 2nd grade, and there was like a book that I wrote of poems, and I actually might have it here. Hold on a second. Hang on, everybody. Hold it. Oh my gosh. This was not planned. But guess what I just found? Maybe. Okay, it wasn't poems. I misremembered, but it does say Christina's stories, and it's from 2nd grade. Look at that. That's me when I look like a boy for most of my life. I think that there's a poem in here somewhere. Yes. This is a very short poem that I wrote in 2nd grade. Friends are good neighbors. They like to play with you. If you care about your friend should care about you too. You're welcome. So, wow, amazing question, and amazing that I found this, and now I'm going to read it for the rest of the day to see what other gems that I wrote. Thank you for that question. Also, just so you see it, this is also what my silhouette looked like when I was a child, because again, I looked like a boy for most of my childhood. Okay, my mom is on here. Thank you, Mom. Okay, what else happens? What inspired you? There's a lot of feedback on that. Okay, yes, Christina's brother is cool too. I have the best brother, and I have the best mom. I have the best family. Yes. Okay, what inspired you to write about science and astronomy? Okay, so I don't know. That's the truth. But I've been kind of intertwined in science and math all my life. My mom is a scientist. She's a research scientist. And my dad was an accountant. So there was like all of this like right brain stuff going on. And then like I had like the left brain stuff. And so also science has the best words. I'm always saying this. I know that some of you on here are in the sciences or you're science teachers. So science has the best words. How did I get into space? Well, I remember as a kid going to the Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral, and I loved that. I remember just having, my mom liked space, so I remember having that around also. So that was always like a big thing for me. So, and I think anything that you've done in childhood kind of sticks with you. And as a poet, sometimes it just pops into your head at the weirdest times. And that's the same thing that happened with Tesla. I was starting to write about Tesla. I wrote one poem several years ago, like more than several years ago. And it was about Tesla and Marconi and their fight. And then it kind of like went away for a while. And then a few years ago, his name just started popping up wherever I went. He was there. Like my brother and I went out to Stony Brook Village, and there was like a Tesla exhibit there, and we didn't know it was going to be there. It was just there. And then I'm walking through the city and I got to like Tesla's Corner, which is like near Bryant Park. And it was like there, like right in front of me. And then I was on vacation and the only thing on the television in the hotel room was this documentary about Tesla. And so I was like, oh, okay, he's coming to me. And now I need to write all of this stuff. So I think like as a poet, you have seeds in here and then they pop out when you least expect it. That was a non-answer. So thank you, Dawn. Are you working on any books? Yeah, always. I am working on the Tesla chapbook. Chapbooks are very short books, and there's like a page limit. Some people can tell you, I can't. I think it's 40, 30. I don't know. I'm making things up. But I have been working on that for a while. Originally, it was going to be a full-length book, but I don't think I can sustain that. But I am working on a chapbook, and it's called Tesla, My Love, Our Everything. And I'm almost kind of finished with that, so I'm excited. And I go to his birthday party every year at Wardenclyffe, so you guys should go out there if you haven't been out there. It's a great place, and they do podcasts now, so you can check that out. And I'm also working on another book called What We Do to Make Us Whole, and I kind of just put that together, the finishing touches on it a few weeks ago, and I'm going to go back and see what I can make of that. And I submitted it to one place that was interested in it, and now I'm going to submit it to some other places. So always working on stuff between, grading and all the other things that I do in my life. Okay. And if anybody, let me do a plug. If anybody buys a book from my website today, then I will donate part of the proceeds to Walt Whitman Birthplace. They are closed right now. So if you'd like to donate, there's a donation button on their website. But also, if you do buy a book from me on my website today, just make a notation that you attended Walt Whitman, and I will donate some of the money to Walt Whitman Birthplace. Okay, or you could just donate straight. Thank you, Judy. You too. How long does it take for you to write a poem? That is an interesting question because I don't know. Sometimes, so the poem that I wrote about the Dolphins, I wrote that in maybe 20 minutes, and I really didn't change it much. I took maybe another 10 minutes to fix it, and I think it's done. Other poems I tinker with for years and years and years and years. So it's, yeah, I think it depends on the poem and what it's doing. And I think there are several poets out there who have said a poem is never done, you just abandon it. And I think that's the case for a lot of people, I think. It's never done. Even things that like I read from the books, like I change the words as I'm reading them out loud because I'm like, oh, it would sound better this way. That's what happens when you like words. Okay, Lauren, I love that you write about outer space, science, and the earth. Is there a writing routine that you adhere to? I wish I had a writing routine. No. I know there are a lot of poets, they sit down same time every day and they write. I do write every day, but that's more of like therapy writing. So I get up, I meditate, then I have like something to drink, and then like I get out my journal and then like it's scribble scratch all over the place, and then I never read it again. But as for writing poetry, no. The only time I actually had the same schedule every day was when a few years ago I went on sabbatical and I gave myself a schedule for writing. And that's when a lot of those Critter and Nymphs and Gnomes came out, but that's also when I published Liberating the Astronaut. So it was a very productive time. So if anybody has the chance to take a sabbatical from whatever job you have, please take it. I think everybody should have a sabbatical to do whatever they want for as long as they want, or maybe a month. Okay. What was the name of your first poem? Oh, maybe the one about friendship, probably, or something before that. I'm not really sure. You should consider writing the follow-up to Space Oddity. I can consider it. I don't know how good it would be. I appreciate it, and I don't think I would want to try to follow that up, but I will consider. Science, yes, Wayne, science does have the best words. I am a little slow in the chat, everybody. I'm seeing what everybody's saying. Thank you, Adis. That's very kind. How do you fit in the time for everything? Do you set a time? No, I don't know how I fit in the time. I like to keep myself busy. I do have a routine for the most part. And then some days I'll sit down and be like, I haven't written a lot. Or there are some workshop groups that I'm a part of. And also once a month, I started doing, over a year ago, I started doing sit around and write. So once a month, I carve out some time to write. And at least it's once a month. Otherwise, I could go months without writing something, right? So, and all of that is on my website too. So, yeah, I try to do that for myself, but also for the community, because there are so many people who are writers and they kind of let that go by the wayside. So finding a good group of people that are going to encourage you to write, or just call you up and say, hey, have you written anything lately? Just to kind of keep you on your toes. So that's kind of the way that I've been writing lately for the past few years. Bob Dylan said, a poem is a naked person. That sounds like Bob Dylan. I almost did my Dylan impression. I'm not doing my Dylan impression. Okay, thank you. Yes, of course. Oh, thank you. So Caitlyn wrote wrote the link to my website in the group chat, and we'll write it again at the end. And also there's that donation link in the chat for Walt Whitman Birthplace. I think we all have sabbaticals now. Well, that is a good way of looking at it, Tony Pelicano. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, I caught up with the chat. I'm proud. Okay. All right. I'm saying a lot. I apologize. I'm just trying to do several things at once, and that's what happens. Anybody else have anything else that you'd like to say or ask or do or?
Well, hi, it's Cynthia here again. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm unmuted, and I'd like to go back on video if I could, and say a few more words.
Okay, yes. 1 second, Cynthia.
Okay. I will.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, that was beautiful, Christina. Thank you very much. What I do want to say is that we usually at the end of the reading offer a plaque to our Long Island Poet of the Year. And in fact, we do have a plaque, and it is back at the office for you. In addition to that, we have a plaque that's on the wall, and your name will go on the plaque along with all the other esteemed poets going back quite a while. I think it past 15 years. So I just wanted to say that. I neglected to mention that at the beginning, and usually we ask everyone to come up to the stage, and we have a beautiful portrait in honor of you. So the reading was wonderful. And I just want you to know that you certainly are being remembered and commemorated at the birthplace when we all get back. And I do want to say thank you for all of you for tuning in. I hope you are staying safe in these very trying times. The birthplace is closed, and we have been closed now for a while since we received the order. And but it's wonderful to stay connected online. I know I'm doing Zoom with other poetry groups, and this is wonderful. So thank you very much, Christina. Applause, applause, applause for all that you do. And I just wanted to say this before you said goodbye. Again, on behalf of the board, very, very happy to have you here. And continue with your questions and answers. I didn't know if you were, rounding it down, but I didn't want the moment to go by without expressing this sentiment from all of us at the birthplace, and also a sentiment to all of you out there to be safe, hang in there. We'll get through this, and certainly I'm sure lots of poetry and essays are coming out of this experience, and maybe we'll have a time in the future when we will share them, and Christina can be the MC.
Sure.
All right, so I'll give it back so you can say your goodbyes or continue.
We also had a comment from Sherry saying that we should, everyone should turn their camera on right now, and then we could take a group photo that way. We want to do that.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I think who's that from? Let's see.
Start video in the left-hand corner if you're on your computer.
Oh yeah, so thank you, Paula. That's a good idea. If you, yeah, Caitlin, if you go to gallery view, you'll see everybody's faces all at once, and then you can take a picture like that.
Yeah, we have so many people joining us that we don't all fit on one page, so I'm going to be scrolling through.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm proud that we got here today.
Everybody just smile.
Yeah, just keep smiling.
Great job, Christina.
Thank you. And then I'll do one more poem to send everybody off if nobody has more questions. How about that?
Tonight I want to give you bar that you walk in and try. You guys ready to sit?
One more second. We're almost good. Okay, we got everybody. Thanks so
Awesome.
much for joining us.
Okay. So should we? Go ahead, Cynthia.
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is our biggest group we've had for an online event so far.
This is a good time, good place then. Yeah.
Yeah. And Christina said that she would do another event with us soon, which we're so happy about. We certainly picked the right person for their quote of the year.
Yeah, wonderful event and really
For
very
us online
uplifting.
too.
This was a wonderful event, very uplifting, especially that we can all gather together this way.
I agree, Richard. Thank you so much. All right. So why don't I just read one more poem? And maybe that'll also be uplifting because it's going to be from my Girls Who Comb Their Hair and Other Strange Creatures. So it's got to be uplifting because it's about little critters.
Thing we did was move this in barn to the bread bar. I got snail plumbing services to work.
I think people forgot to mute themselves again. But that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna read one more for everybody. And then thank you all so much for joining me. This has been like a very hectic week of Zoom telling us that we suddenly needed a password and we had no password. Caitlyn has been wonderful. Cynthia is wonderful. The entire board is just a group of such wonderful people and so supportive. So I really thank you. And I look forward to working with you the rest of the year. And I look forward to when we can see each other and say hi in person. So I'm just gonna end with this. So I will show you the pictures first if you can see. You can see my little gnome friend and then the trees and the forest and all that. Okay. All right. The gnomes on oak throw a bachelor bash. Bar stools present a problem. Never at a loss for invention or ingenuity, they take running leaps, bouncing off napkin piles. They craft seesaw catapults using cooking spoons and spatulas set across rolled up utensil packets. One by one, they bound up to the bar, order up some wings, small portions, and a shot of rye whiskey to celebrate the last stag prime for coupledom. A cheers, a toast, a hearty congrats. The bartenders don't mind when the gnomes stand on the bar top, nimble on their small feet. Lots of practice from frolicking around dandelions and briars. Each gnome runs end to end, heaving quarters into shot glasses as grown men pump fists to egg them on. To health, to gardens, to all things we. After a few rounds, they loosen their collars, wipe their faces clean of blue cheese and hot sauce, and challenge each other. Who can hold his tongue to a lemon wedge the longest? Who can ride and guide a dart all the way to the bullseye? How many pepper shakes can they stand before sneezing off the bar? You know, all those silly things boy gnomes do to out-gnome each other. To your belly, to your rake. When midnight hits, uh-oh. Hang on, something's happening. There we go, thank you. All right, when midnight hits, their rosy cheeks flush redder, all boozy delight. They doff their triangle hats, braid their beards, hold their thimble pints high, offer wobbly, woozy, buzzed up love. To us, to everyone, to every living thing, to life, to brilliant, happy life. So thank you all for joining me. That's my toast to you. I really appreciate you coming out. I share my gratitude with you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much. Mwah.
Bye, Chrissy.